Hi everybody, and welcome to the World of Micah. We are back in the city of Winter Park, Florida today. It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, but we're not talking about our friend Fred Rogers today. No, today we are talking about our good friend Anthony Perkins, who would go on to be more famously known as Norman Bates. Let's take a closer look. And in September of 1950, Anthony Perkins enrolled in college here at Rollins College in Winter Park, Florida. Crazy to think. Anthony Perkins went to school here in the 50s, and then his life would completely change. And I believe down here is where the productions that he was in took place. He was in several productions here in Rollins, and inside this theater, the Ann Russell Theater, is where he did Squaring the Circle. There's a photo I'm going to insert right now of him on the stage here inside this theater, the Ann Russell Theater. Right there in the Ann Russell Theater. Be so cool to go see a production with Anthony Perkins inside. Little did they know. Now, while Anthony Perkins was attending Rollins, he performed several productions and plays here inside the Ann Russell Theater. And there was a gentleman by the name of Fred Rogers who graduated a year before Anthony got here, who lended him his piano so that he could use it in some of his productions. And he would have used them inside the theater right here. Even Mr. Rogers was a neighbor of Anthony Perkins, Norman Bates. And I was kind of hoping they would have a rock here for Anthony Perkins, because they have one for Fred Rogers, who attended here. But I guess because Fred actually graduated here and Anthony was, given the honorary degree. But right here is Fred Rogers. Right there. They could put Anthony Perkins one right here. Why not? But everything would change for Anthony in 1953, because he hitchhiked, as they say, up to Hollywood from Florida, which is a long trek. But he did it to audition for a film. So he hitchhikes up to Hollywood, California for he thinks he's going to get an audition or something for a film called The Actress. Now, he had done a production of that prior to this, so he was like, I've got this job. I've done the stage adaptation of this. He gets there. He lands a on-screen test with one of the actresses. They end up using the back of his head, and he finds out that I'm probably not going to get this role. MGM has a lot of people under contract. At those times, they had people under contract. MGM just put you in movies. You just kind of were under what they told you they wanted you to do. So he comes back to Rollins College, and he receives a letter 6 months later saying, hey, we want you to come back for a costume test. Well, this is around December, and as you know, finals are there. And on the Rollins website, there's actually a quote of Anthony Perkins saying he had to go and basically tell all of his professors, hey, Hollywood's calling. Do you think I could get my my final exam like a week early? I gotta go make this movie. So he goes out and he lands it. So he did end up making his film debut in that film. It's pretty crazy. He did it. It just took some time, as these things, I hear, do. Well, after that film, he didn't stay in Hollywood long. He went to New York, did acting, and he made his way back to Hollywood, where he became Norman Bates. And this wouldn't be Anthony Perkins' last time at Rollins. He would come back 20 years later and receive an honorary degree from the school. I thought that was kind of cool. Now let's fast forward to the future. Anthony Perkins has done Psycho. He's a household name. Well, in June of 1990, a little studio called Universal Studios Florida opens, and they invite Anthony Perkins to help open. So he comes to Florida to help open Universal Studios Florida in June of 1990. They have the Alfred Hitchhick, The Art of Making Movies. He does some video work and voiceover work for Universal Studios. Also, he filmed Psycho 4, the beginning, with Henry Thomas, who is best known as Elliot in E.T. So Anthony Perkins is basically booked up in Florida. He's here for a while. Another local company reaches out to Anthony. And this is a different time for downtown Orlando. People are coming to downtown Orlando. The theme parks are bringing people to Orlando. You've got Universal Studios, Disney MGM Studios, and Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom and Epcot. And look at this. Italy, leading to nowhere. That's what that says. But Church Street down here, Church Street Station, is huge at this time. And there's a little tiny haunt that opened its doors right here in 1991. This is the former home of Terror on Church Street. These two buildings right here, the Crest and the National Bank, look like something out of Batman. I love it. Anything that looks like 89 Batman, I'm into. And when I was a kid, if they ever had these things put up in our downtown area, which is very small, Jackson, Mississippi, I always thought, wow, it looks like I'm in New York City. You know, it kind of has that vibe here in Orlando right now. Just quickly realize that you are not in New York City for the holidays, because there's a palm tree to remind us. Who would want to spend Christmas in a tropical climate anyways? Now, Church Street straight ahead was so popular during this time. This was November of 1991. And you could not do what I'm doing right now. There will be so many people out here in November of 91. This place has practically turned into a ghost town. The Bumby block, former home of Hamburger Mary's, Bumby Arcade. It's been saying that it's going to be new for a long time. All this is sadly just sitting here, waiting for someone to scoop in and save it. But it's crazy to think, like, you know, nowadays these 80s, you know, bars and retro bars are a big thing. I wonder if, you know, Church Street would have done better if they would have held it out and waited for all this stuff to kind of coordinate. Imagine all of these being like horror themed leading up to Terror on Church Street. There's so many possibilities of, you know, what it could have been. Where's the beef? On the other side now, this is the bank next to the old Crest building. Looks like something out of Batman Gotham City, but I have seen people lined up here in videos and photos going to Church Street. Yeah, just imagine people standing here, and right here, this is where the building was. They destroyed it and built this whole Chase Bank here. But right there was Terror on Church Street. And the photo I have is more or less right here on the corner, and you can see the giant spider right there coming down on Church Street. But he did the voiceover and some work for them, which I thought was very nice of him and very cool. He wanted to help out some local, you know, it was a theater production. Like, these were actors, these were local actors, local thespians who put this on. You know, a lot of people practiced their craft and worked on it here at Church Street. And a lot of those people still work in theme parks and in productions today. And I'm just so thankful we have footage of Anthony in the studio, and all the stories and newspaper articles kind of puts a little stamp on Church Street here. It kind of stamps it with Norman Bates' stamp. And for us weird fans, you get a thumbs up. And sadly, Church Street closed in 1999, May of 1999. It's crazy. There's like a whole movie theater thing in here in this plaza. I wonder if they ever show Psycho in here. I've never actually been in here. Kind of reminds me of that parking structure I always park at next to Madame Tussauds at Hollywood Boulevard. Because you walk out here and it's like you're in a nice little movie theater, in a mall, like shopping, you know, and then boom, Hollywood Boulevard slaps you. Now, September 12th, 1992, Anthony Perkins would pass away. So it was kind of like his last like swan song, you know. It was Universal. Him coming back to Florida was kind of like a swan song for him in a weird way, because he would start out his acting career here in Central Florida and also end his career. I don't think he worked on anything after that. I don't think he worked on any big projects after opening Universal Studios and Terror on Church Street stuff. I always love this building right here. It's haunted, they say. It's really cool. It's an art gallery. And this is brand new. They just put this up. How cool is that? This is for the arts and cultural affairs. And how ironic. Swans, and I just said Anthony Perkins' swan song. And I think this is where we say goodbye. This is really cool. This is an electric box, but they turned it into an old radio. Looks like something would be in the Parker's house, listening to Little Orphan Annie. I'm serious. Look at this. There's a volume knob. Get your tone, but it's just an electric box. That's a cool way of displaying an electric box and not making everything so boring. Well, we came, we saw, we took care of business here today. Had a lot of fun doing this. I'm trying to find as many weird things like this with celebrities in Florida. If you know any of them, hit me up on Instagram, email me, send them my way. I rack my brain on this kind of stuff. Got a few more coming your way. We got some stuff for the holidays. I'm excited. I'll see you guys on the next episode where Tippy Hedren and I go bird watching. Till then, stay weird. Goodbye.